Alright, what's up guys? Voodoo 51292 here again with another game review, and today I'm going to do a review of an old game. It came out in 2008. The reason I'm doing it is because the sequel is coming out in a week's time, which I have come into the house and I'm very excited about it. And so with the sequel coming out and it's being marketed, people may start to hear about this franchise and may want to go pick up the first game since it's like $20 now on PS3 Greatest Hits, and check the game out. And the game I am going to be reviewing today is Dead Space. I didn't really hear a lot about this game when it was first released. I kind of read about it online from different things, and was in a gaming rut at the time because I didn't have anything to play, and there wasn't anything out I really wanted to play. So I said, okay, I'll go pick this game up used. Well, actually, I bought the game new because at the time at GameStop, because they do this for no reason. The new game was the exact same price as the used game, which they do, and I don't understand why. So I went and picked it up for 20 bucks, and was absolutely blown away by the 20 bucks I had just spent. So first my reaction to the game. I really enjoyed this game. It was a very pleasant surprise. Here's a game I figured I'd go pay 20 bucks for and play, and just have something to play. Comes to find out, now I'm involved with the franchise, and have pre-ordered Dead Space 2, and it's coming to the house in like a week and a day, and I'm very excited to play that. About Dead Space, I like the game. So we'll head into the pros and cons now. The pros of the game: this is a third-person survival horror shooter game, and they pulled it off beautifully. EA, I was surprised because they usually, when you go for shooter games, usually EA is not the company, especially survival horror, EA is not the company that comes to mind. However, for this game, they pulled it off masterfully well. The USG Ishimura is a giant ship in outer space that's been overrun with an alien virus that reanimates corpses. Lovely. But the game has everything pinned down as far as survival horror. The graphics in the game are amazing, number one. Number two, the atmosphere is incredibly horrifying. They played on everybody's fears. The game is literally dead silent. There's no music, there's nothing in the game. It's completely silent around you until something bursts out of the wall, and it's a crazy looking necromorph, and it's going crazy. The game definitely has a shock factor, which is cool for survival horror. It's third person, so the combination of the third person and the very narrow corridors and silence and dark hallways plays on your claustrophobia. The whole game, it's very claustrophobic. You feel closed in, paranoid, always checking behind you to see if there's anything sneaking up on you. Quickly turning corners, quickly opening doors and backing away. The lighting in the game. This game is also one of the goriest games I have ever played. And a lot of games have gore for the sake of gore, but this game, the amount of gore in it is ridiculously high, but it's well done. I mean, it's done because it's a survival horror. It's very realistic survival horror. It really is. The gore in the game is done well because it adds to the environment, and it adds to how crazy scary this game is and everything else. It's not just random gore in there just to have it. Another thing is I think the combat is inventive. You can't just shoot enemies in the head and kill them like you do in every other game. In this game, you actually have to dismember the the opponents, the necromorphs. You got to cut their limbs off to kill them, which is a cool kind of technique that they went with. You're actually an engineer on the ship who gets trapped, and you have to fight your way out. So all of your guns and stuff are really like engineering tools. You have like a plasma cutter and a line gun and stuff like that. So you're not actually using real guns. You're using like futuristic repair tools. So that's pretty cool. That's a cool mechanic in the game. It's different, and I like it a lot. Yeah, those are my pros. It's a great game. It's very, very good, very well done survival horror, and a new fresh take on the whole shooter thing with the dismemberment and the different kind of guns. However, there are cons to the game, which I'm going to talk about. The first con I have is the plot. It's kind of a weird plot, and I'm a guy who loves plots in games. A huge fan of plots in like BioShock and Assassin's Creed. I love those plots. I play games very much for the story. The story in this game, you're playing the game and you get snippets of the story, but even when the game is finished, at least for me still, I really don't understand kind of what's going on. And like, I'm wondering if I do understand what's going on and it's just not very good story, or if I'm just missing something and I can't put two and two together. But it's a very weird story. It's really not presented well. The story I find is really disconnected from the game. I mean, I found myself somebody who's very much driven by the plots in games, just going around like playing the game, not really worrying about the backstory to the game. I tried to get into it, but it was just weird, and I just found myself just going to play the game, enjoying playing the actual playing of the game, and not really worrying about the plot, because it's presented through audio logs and text logs you find throughout the thing. The main characters really don't give you much insight into the plot. There's a twist later on in the game, but again, it's not. I just didn't find it very, very cool twist and an oh my gosh moment. It's kind of like, oh, okay, well that's kind of been played out. BioShock, things like that. It was kind of the same idea. So the plot was really, I don't think they did a very good job communicating the backstory of the game. So that's a con. Another con is the display. The heads-up display. They have it set where it progress. Everything in the game is projected as a hologram in front of you, and it doesn't freeze the game around you, which provides more of that horror, because while you're concentrating on your inventory and stuff, people can still come up and attack you. So I understand why they did that, but the heads-up display really, the maps in the game are pretty terrible. I mean, they're useless anyway. I know on PS3, if you click left or right stick, I forget which one, but if you click one, he shoots a laser beam on the ground that shows you where to go. So, and when you look at the map, you have no idea what the hell it's talking about. The map is useless anyway, because you can just shoot a laser beam on the ground and it shows you where to go. And then the heads-up display, I just didn't like how it was set up. I didn't like how it didn't freeze the game, and like the map again is useless, and you have a pretty small inventory. Even if you do upgrade your suit and stuff throughout the game, your inventory is still pretty small. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. And the other con that people say, and that I kind of was annoyed with after a while, is there's a whole lot of backtracking in the game. There's a ridiculously huge amount of backtracking in the missions. I didn't have a huge problem with it, because I guess that lends itself to the small confines of the ship, the Ishimura. You know, it's not a huge, like, you know, the levels in the game are sections of the ship. You know, you're limited to certain sections of the ship, so there's really not too much you can do. You want to have enough gameplay in each chapter to make it long enough and substantial, but there's just, so I think it was actually well done because they didn't make it, you know, unbelievable where it's just these sections of the ship are gigantic where you never have to backtrack. I think the backtracking, it kind of gets annoying, but it's understandable because you're on a ship limited to a section of the ship and it's just not that big. So the backtracking is okay with me. Anyway, those are my cons. I do have another one. They have a bunch of different weapons in the game, but the weapon you start out with, the plasma cutter, that's the only weapon you need for the whole game. It's the best one because it shoots plasma beams this way, and then you can rotate it and shoot it down. So you can rotate it to chop the limbs off perfectly, and all you have to do is upgrade that one gun with workbenches throughout the game, and by the end, it's amazing. And the machine gun sucked, the flamethrower sucks. The line gun is okay, but you don't need, all the other guns in the game are completely useless. You don't need them. All you need is the plasma cutter. Get it in the beginning of the game and just upgrade it the whole way through, and by the end of the game, it's going to be an amazing weapon. Just don't waste the time on the other weapons. So that's kind of a con, that you put a bunch of weapons in the game, but they all suck except for the gun you get at the beginning of the game. Anyway, so to the tip section, again, that's my number one tip. You get the plasma cutter to start the game. Just keep it. Use every single one of your upgrades on the plasma cutter. Fully upgrade that thing. And by the end of the game, it's an unstoppable machine that just rips through everything. Also, upgrade your suit a lot because it gives you a lot more inventory, even though at the end it's still not that much. At the beginning of the game, the inventory is so small that it's abominable. So you have to keep upgrading your suit. It gives you more HP and it gives you a bigger inventory, which you're gonna need. Other than that, that's the tips I have. Another tip: you might want to play this game with the lights on because literally I brought it home and I was home alone when I started playing it. By the time my parents got home, I had turned every light on in the house. I was terrified by this game. I had nightmares about this game. So that I'm going to insert as a tip. You might want to play with a couple of lights on, not at 2 o'clock in the morning with everything off. Probably a bad idea. Anyway, to the rating of this game. I really liked the game. The gameplay was cool. It was very well done, survival horror. A new take on the shooting with the dismemberment and the different kind of weapons, even though most of the weapons are useless. The mapping system sucks in the game, but again, it really doesn't matter because the game tells you where to go. The plot is fuzzy, and they just didn't make the plot essential to the gameplay at all. So if you don't understand the plot, like I didn't understand it, it really doesn't matter because it's not going to take away from the game. But the plot doesn't add anything either. It's just very weird, and hopefully in Dead Space 2 they really develop the plot and make you understand what's going on, because I still don't. After playing this game and seeing it played a couple more times, I still don't get it. So for the rating of this game, I'm going to give the game a rating of 8.5. For very good gameplay. What's keeping me from giving it a 9 is the plot fuzziness. That's dropping me a half a point because I'm a huge plot lover, and if the plot was better, it would definitely be a very highly rated game, but I have to drop it down to an 8.5. But still, it's a great buy. It's $20 now, brand new on PS3, greatest hits. So go scoop it up. It's a great buy for $20. It's a horrifying game. If you like survival horror, you will like this game. So it's a steal right now at $20. Go play it. Get ready for Dead Space 2, which I'll be doing a review of when I beat that in a couple of weeks. So that is my review of Dead Space. I hope you find it helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them.